I wanted to be at home playing, but my mother, she made us go to the mass meeting with her every Tuesday. And segregation, back then, I recall before my father passed, he passed when I was 6 years old, when he used to take me to the doctor's office to get, the doctor's office. And I remember seeing the signs, the color, the water fountains, color, white, bathroom, we always had to go to the back door. And in school, I recall the books. When we got books, we always got the second-hand books. Whenever the student at the white school at America's High, whenever they got their new books, we always got the books that they got. They could have been maybe 2 or 3 years old. You see, the students that had the books, their names and stuff, maybe it might be some pages or something missing. So segregation, integration, I would say, it was good and it was bad. It meant that we studied from the same books now. We were no longer behind them. And we could compete on the same level. As far as sports, you used to read about them, when they football game, baseball, whatever it was, they always had them in the paper. And if we did anything, they had a little small article, but they mentioned their player's name and what they was doing. I recall guys way back in the day, Coach Dan Reed, that Atlanta Falcon coach. I was young, but I remember,
he was from America. He was
from America, Georgia. His dad owned a construction company, And later on, we had Chan Gailey. Chan Gailey was the quarterback during the time when Ron was the quarterback. That was the last year, And last year, Ron, he was our quarterback, and Chan was the quarterback at America's High. And after we integrated, like I said, I was in 8th grade, I was just glad to be on the team. I was the fastest guy on the team and the smallest guy. And I guess I improved, the coach, he caught on to me, not because of my speed, but I would hustle and he showed a little toughness, But going over to the white school, America's High, it was different. At the black high school, we only had one coach, Coach Garfield Stevens, great man. And when we got to America's High, we had 6 or 7 coaches, this position, that position.
Position coaches.
And it was different, I'm used to taking instruction from a black man. Now I got to go, over here. And so you had to make adjustments on that. And we did, So I learned a lot from it. Everything that I learned, it has benefited me in life, work hard, and discipline and all that stuff, So.
Well, that was great. I don't know about you all, but I enjoyed that part of it. You take this from you. Coach Tweet, I'm going to have to ask our producer, Monty Ross or Dennis, how many hours do we have of Coach Tweet? 4? You're like, yeah. Daughter's saying, yeah. We have 4 hours. And Keocia's already said she wants to see all of it. You were talking, Coach, and they were kind enough, and they just didn't want to turn off the camera. You were talking and giving interviews.
Oh.
I know. Go ahead.
You have a coach's corner.
Yeah.
At the broadcast. Then you have one by yourself, I think, with Bruce, and then another one with Nandi. Yeah, the one that was. And then just bits and pieces of you just talking and dealing. And a rich history of when players would come to town, where they would stay. So it's a rich history that we have that, you covered everything well. And I think we do one more interview, please.
Okay.
Because we have just made the purchase of 6K cameras now, so we want to document you in 6K. Now that'll take us.
Becky's laughing.
Next 150, 350, maybe 200 years, we'll have that preserved. And the first thing we want, so we want to capture you in 6K.
Okay, that's all right.
You see how Coach is like really listening, right? So Monty said it all. I just want to take personal privilege to say that his birthday was Wednesday and he is Thursday. He's very active on social media. So if you all didn't shout out, if you didn't shout him out, he sends you back a little note. So if you didn't send it back, he's better than Ricky Clemens. He can get back to you right away. You didn't know you had done that much in terms of it. Coach, you said you were predecessor, really, in what you know, to the GIA.
Yeah.
Who and how did the GIA come to be? Because was that just a way to get some organization?
Yeah. What had happened back there, as I indicated, the schools in Atlanta, the one school in Atlanta was Washington High School. And we couldn't play anybody else in the state because the competition was, we were on a level where we had a college team over there. See, we had a college team at Washington High School could beat the colleges, which was the local colleges here in the city, Clark, Morehouse, and Morris Brown. So what happened is that teams from throughout the state did not want to play us in the larger cities like Augusta, Savannah, Macon, and Spencer. I noticed, in the documentary about all those schools, and I know all those people. I knew the coaches at every one of those schools. But the thing that really was so touching about this is that we had to leave the state of Georgia and go to places like Asheville, North Carolina, Sterling High School in South Carolina, Austin High School in Knoxville, Tennessee, Howard High School in Chattanooga, Pearl High School in Nashville, Parker High School in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama. We had to get a schedule, and we played those people. And many times that when we played those people before the GIA, we had to get these raggedy buses to travel up and down a two-way highway to play the game.
Wow. And
so that was one of the most devastating things that I could really touch back there, because how dangerous it was for us to travel on a two-lane highway in a torn-up bus that might stop anywhere because of the type of vehicle it was. And so every time we left Atlanta, we did not know whether we were going to get there or not. And then when we had to stop somewhere, it took you 5 or 6 hours to get anywhere. During those 5 or 6 hours that we were talking about here, we didn't have anywhere to stop to eat. We stopped at these restaurants and they had food that they served us on the side of the building. And you had to go to that window and they hand you the food out of the window and you have to eat standing up outside of that building. They wouldn't allow us in there. We could not stop anywhere during those times on those trips to even rest and relax on the bus, because you always have these white policemen making you move on because they think that you're going to be causing trouble in that town. So we couldn't stop anywhere there. So it was a miserable time during those years that we had, but at the same time, we had a coach, and Coach Baker. He was a gentleman, Christian man. He prayed a lot. And so that was a thing that really motivated them to just get our mind off of things of that magnitude and concentrate on being the best athlete that we could be. And that's why we were so successful in winning all these games.
Wow. Well, I got a quick follow-up personal privilege. Your sister and I went to school together. Those of us from Clark, Atlanta. Yeah, went to school, right? Your sister. Yeah. You give it back to Coach. It's not going to be yours right now. You got the big ring, so give it back to Coach. Courage. And Coach, his son and I, those of us who went to Clark, we went to school together. And I asked you a question that Coach Epps, for those who didn't know, the story goes, he pulled Dr. Eugene Walker out from under a truck where he was a mechanic in Dangerous, hang him at the courthouse, Thompson, Georgia. And Dr. Walker had a whole event today and couldn't be here and told me to tell you hello. But his daughter, Coach Depp's daughter and I talked last evening, and you and I were just talking. I didn't realize that, and I went to Clark, that we didn't have a gym. So they were scampering around, were they, trying to find places to practice during our years of going to Clark?
In my connection with Clark, I tell you, I went there in 1944. And during that particular period of time, Clark, when you talk about things like that, it's just impossible for me to give you certain answers because of the neglected type of situation that we had in these black colleges and universities. In the high school, we all had problems. I went to Clark, we did not have a full-time coach. We had part-time coaches. See, that was all the schools, with the exception of a few. And my coach was a part-time coach. He had a job downtown, and he coached football, basketball, everything we played. And his name was Charles McPherson. And then after him, a person that came in there was Marion Curry, and Curry brought Coach Epps.
Okay.
And I know that you perhaps remember him.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Epps coached every sport at that university. Every sport. Football, basketball, he was the head coach of everything.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Outstanding man. And we as alumni, we helped him to get the type of players that he needed because we were in high school coaching. We had several coaches around the city. Baker was at Washington, Wainwright at Archer and Carver, and I was at Turner. So we sent kids to these schools, to that school, from these schools. And we also had to give them equipment. See, before we integrated, and we had the schools in Atlanta, these white folks took care of us as far as equipment and things of that nature because they saying this was separate but equal. What we knew was that was not altogether true, but they did give us what we needed, much more than you perhaps got in your hometown, because they had to do something because we, in Atlanta where we had Martin Luther King and all these people out here who were behind us, well, they were a little afraid not to because they didn't know what's going to come next. But anyway, what happened is that we supplied all this for the colleges. The high school supplied this for the college. And Coach Epps did not have a gym, did not have an athletic field, a practice zone. The students in the school did not have a playground. We had 4 buildings when I went over. 4 buildings. And we didn't have a recreation room. The recreation room was was down below the cafeteria where we ate food. And we used to go down that rec, they call it. You remember that?
The rec, yeah, the best French fries in
Cross,
Metro
remember all
Atlanta.
that? That's what we had.
Best bid whiskey.
But we always had people who were dedicated to the fold of making sure that we become educated in the area of athletics, in the area of activities, in all of that. Because all we were doing back during those years, and I will stop after this because I know I just talk.
We got 4 hours.
But what happened is we were academic, I would say academic, I'm not going to use that word because you all won't like me for that. Academic fools. Because all we wanted to do is to make sure that we become educated in the arithmetic, math, and English. We didn't think about the activities that we have to go along with all of that. I call them the 3 A's: athletic, activities, and athletics. Those are the things that we have to teach our people, our young people. And this is what we tried to do back then. But our great educators around the country, we were gun-ho in making sure that education was just one-sided. And that one-sided was reading, writing, and arithmetic. And that should have made you what you are. But I'm telling you, people, that concept is out of the window. Because if you don't try to teach the total child concept, we're going to lose, and we are losing our kids every day. And so, but Coach Epps and the other coaches of these historical black schools, they saw to it that all of us was going to receive a quality education using the phases that we just mentioned: athletics, academics, and activities. All of them got to go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. If we don't do that, I'm saying to you today that they're going to continue to build these prisons around this country because these kids don't have anything to do. They don't have the leisure time skills like you had when you were coming along. You left school, you went out in the community, you played. They used to call us, my teachers in my Booker T. Washington High School. I'll never forget this teacher. Her name was Miss L.D. Shine. I was an athlete, played football and all that, basketball, ran track. And every time I would go to that English class, and she called on me and she said to me, "You one of those dumb jocks." She called me a dumb jock because athletes wore jockey straps. She called me a dumb jock. And I wish that she could see me today.
All right.
I wish she could see me today. And poor soul, she's gone on to heaven. And I hope that I will meet her. So I can tell her, this is what you did to this dumb jock.
We don't pass the mic because we don't want her spirit to come back into the. Thank you, Coach. Reminds me of Pearly Dove at Clark, but she didn't call us a dumb jock. Pearly Dove, all of us who know Miss English and Janice Lydell. We're giving the mic, Coach. That's why Monty said they got 6K cameras. They want to come to you. And Becky said she can't wait to meet you. So we have a lady here. Her name is Keocia Howard. You all heard that, but you know what you didn't know was that we were shocked and happy when we met her. She grew up right here in this neighborhood, right down the street. She could walk to school from here. She went to that rugged place known as Southwest DeKalb High School.
I sure did. Yes, go Panthers. And before that, Rainbow Elementary.
See, she say Rainbow Elementary. That was for me because I live over in the same subdivision. But what I want to say to Keocia, without a long introduction and tears, I want her to respond to what Ron may have to say or Monty about what you meant to us. What she meant to us was a person appeared and really did not think we were going to get it finished, not because of our ability, but because of what had gone on for these many years here in Atlanta. Keocia, Ron would say things. I know you all are surprised. Ron would say things and you look her up in the sky. Ron said, "I want it on Juneteenth." And this is primetime day for what? PBS, national PBS, Mama Daddy PBS. And we worked and this was going to be the premiere and the encore was going to be the 21st. A lot of things happened and things changed, but Keocia fought the good fight. And at this time, we'd like to bring up a couple of things for her and then have you respond to how and why you helped us and what happened along the way.
Oh my goodness, y'all, don't do this.
This is my daughter-in-law, Stephanie Kimbrough, who I recruited from Tallahassee, Florida to help us out on the event. Dante Iverson, I was a dean at FAMU. He's one of my students. And Keocia, put it down by her because she's going to try to act like she's shy, of which she really is. She's super, super, super shy. But to be director, everyone listen, of production services for the Georgia Public Broadcasting Network at age 35, 36, I'm supposed to go ahead and tell her age, is amazing for the entire state. 3.4 million households and all of that. So If Monty and them want to join in, they can, but we would like to hear from you because you made, you know, and her hashtag, whenever she would write me, would be Ghost No More. You made that happen.
Thank you. I was not expecting this. Obviously, I wore mascara today, so I am not going to shed a tear, but this is so awesome. Thank you guys so much. I work with a lot of producers. I work with a lot of people who want to get their program on the air, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. But you guys made it happen. And, you know, you're thanking me, but I really thank you guys because this was a story that GPB started and was not able to complete. And so you guys have helped us tremendously in that. And when Ron said he wanted it to air on Juneteenth, I was like, oh, that's perfect. We're doing Juneteenth, right? And the first airing getting moved actually worked out better because we got that primetime slot at 9 o'clock. And so I think it just all came together. It all worked out for the best for this program. I'm excited that you guys are working on more. And I mean, I'm beyond words right now. Like, thank you. I really appreciate it. But it's been a pleasure to work with you guys, and I'm looking forward to more.
Thank you. And I want you to know that sometimes some of us are born with a silver spoon in our mouths and whatever, and she was just giving me her route to school. And being a parent, I know from whence she comes, and you come with grace, you come with purpose, context, you understand, and you do a really good job. You have the technical skills. That's what we're talking about, Coach. Is what we're talking about, Ms. Lum, because we're talking about Mr. C, to make sure that the legacy of who we are, you are that. What Monty was saying, you are that legacy. They are the legacy. Everyone here, and you listened, you paid attention, but you kept your books, you got your Georgia State degree. And if I see you on Instagram again, I'm still a dean. I just can't help it. She's on Instagram a lot. She and Deborah Roberts love Instagram, don't they? Yeah. So with that, since Monty's taking pictures, I'd like to start off with Ron. So thank you, Keocia. Ron, okay. Don't try to rival Coach, but please tell us how. You can. We've heard you talk.
Okay.
Long.
All right.
So please tell us, really and seriously, I got to tell you all without getting emotional, Ron had this vision that it was impossible, build a studio and get a film completed at the same time. Pretty awesome. And our studio is ready, is ready. And he owns other businesses. His wife owns this one. He has a toilet paper manufacturing company. Don't y'all try to run down. We already got it already under lock. Funeral homes and other, but he's a real estate person who came out of Morris Brown and started his real estate career before he left school, kept his money and knew how to invest without having to ask Jay for any advice. So Ron, we appreciate everything you've done. We appreciate you calling me around the clock every day.
Yes, I do.
Every day. How did we get started with all of this though, Ron? How did you get this started?
Well, what happened, it was supposed to air back in 2011. And I saw advertisement on 2011. I had a contract with McDonald's to do uniforms. We had a uniform company called Terry Manufacturing. So I contacted Herb White that was working for Georgia Public Broadcasting. And they were looking for money to finish the documentary. And I went to the McDonald's Association, Black McDonald's Association here in Atlanta, and they weren't interested in actually doing it because they wanted to know how is it that this guy wanted to tell the story and he wasn't Black. And that was the bottom line at that time. So Herb wasn't able to raise all the money, I guess, and everything. So eventually just stayed on the shelf and was never finished. I think that the deal was that it was his story. He's something he wanted to do because he learned how to play basketball with Black kids during the summer when he was at Decatur High School. But he said there were other Black kids that was 100 times better than him that he learned how to play basketball with. So it was on the shelf. I stayed in touch with her all those years. He moved to Mexico. So when the Black Lives Matter and all these things started to happen, I told Herb, I said, well, I want to do this documentary. And what should I do? He said, get in touch with Georgia Public Broadcasting, give me names of and all that type of thing. So I must have wrote 10 15 emails, calls, couldn't get nobody. So finally, her name is Clayton. Gwendolyn Clayton called her. She's the administrative assistant for the president of Georgia GPB. So she asked me to put something together to tell her what I wanted to do. So I put together an elaborate proposal to say, hey, this is what we want to do. I'm not asking you for any money. I just want the documentary and what is it that you all can offer. So I acquired all the rights to the document. Next thing I did, I heard from Keocia, and they turned over. We worked the deal out, and I was able to get access to their server to download all the footage that they had previously done. And the rest of it's history, as far as completing the documentary. And I was just so proud of the team that was able to put it together in this short period of time, because we just got it back last August. We're not even a whole year, and we got this doc completed. The team that we have at our studio is phenomenal. Ann, Monty, all the young people. And I have to say that I believe in young people, because when I got out of Morris Brown, gentleman that went to Carter, that was at Clark, he taught me Morris Brown business law, Carter Colvin. And he took me on his wings when I first got out of Morris Brown and showed me business and everything else. So I'm very high on helping young people and mentoring them to give them a great start, because I had a great start because of my mentor. And I'm just happy that we were able to get this thing finished on time, and we have other things that we're going to do. And I was so grateful to Ann, who came in the rescue today and brought in a tremendous team of people to get it done, like Monty, and then some of these young people like Dennis, and we got, I don't want to miss no names. You could just raise your hand, but I know Dennis was on top of everything. The young man sitting with his cap on, he did great. Sylvester, we got Arian, we got administrator, we got Lisa, got Stephanie. I'm trying to see who else I have back here. Oh yeah, Dante's back there. Yeah, we got them all. And where we saw Marsha, where she at? There she is back there. And the name the rest of the people in, because I'm missing people. Please do.
Tanya, we have a lot of volunteers and folks who helped us all along the way. And we're going to get to Becky. And where did Ricky go? He had to leave. Okay, he's our benefactor. We'll get to Becky. But you did very well, Ron. I'm so proud of you. So Monty,
Yes.
the producer who used to play basketball every day.
Yes.
Every day, y'all. He played coach. He played. My father would just take my hand. I said, "Hey, Mark," talk to him. He just played ball all the time. What did you want to? He really did. He really did. What did you want us to take away? What would you like for us to take away from your experience? And I want to say publicly again, Monty, I was just calling to ask you a question. And when you and Ron started talking, and you reminded me of what we said at Clark, then Clark College, because Mrs. Cole was here today. She said, "Remember State Clark Atlanta?" You reminded me of something that we said as students that we would do. And then when you said, "I'm moving all my productions and everything here," after you got here, after getting stuck in the mud, that you blew me away, because you reminded me of something we did 40 some years ago. But what did you want? So what did you really want us to get from this whole piece?
Well, a lot of times, as a filmmaker, if you're asked to do a job, sometimes people just want to start from scratch, and they want their story to be the one that, but I don't have an ego like that. And for me, it's like reviewing the footage. And once I review the footage, I said, wow, okay, this is really good, because the footage really looked good. The audio was great. And throughout the years, the best camera people did great lighting, they did great storytelling. So I don't know what happened, but on the hard drive, there was no timeline of an editor, right? So I was like, wait a minute, you start in 2005, there has to be an editor that was assigned to start pulling the project together. There was a lot of promos, but there was no definitive timeline. So I was like, oh man, I got to start all the way from the beginning. But for me, those are challenges that I love. I absolutely love those challenges. One, because I get to be up late at night. I get to be up early in the morning. I have my laptop, you know, I have my final draft, you know, and I have the information. And then I start thinking that I'm listening to Coach, I'm listening to Frank, I'm listening to Carl, I'm listening to their story, I'm listening to Ron's story. And then in the back of my mind, I'm gonna get an email from Ann, and Ann is gonna say, well, Keocia said, can you this, that, and then what are the logistics? What are the deliverables? And can you do this? Can it be this way? And then there's the audio that has to be taken into consideration. So there's the audio and there's the picture. And so all of that for me is what I love, right? And I fell into film. I didn't start out as a film major. I was a theater major. I wanted to be an actor, but I gave all that up to run 40 Acres. So I actually ran 40 Acres Intramural Film Works. That means every single thing that became the foundation of that company, I know it because I was the one who Spike relied on to handle every single thing, whether we were making a movie, whether we were doing a commercial with Michael Jordan, it didn't make a difference. So all of that was me, right? So for me, man, I live for that. So I live for conflict. I live for people like Ron who's like, okay, he's gonna cut the checks. But for me, what I love most about that is that throughout my entire career, I have primarily worked for Black men. I have primarily worked for Black men who say like, are you sure we can get this done? How do we get it done? And so for me, it's to sit there and really think about what is the strategy about how we get this done, and then how do we move the company forward. So for me, when it comes down to editing and it comes down to storytelling, there was a lot that was going on. There was a lot to unpack. But for me, the key to this was high school in 1948. That was my time period under the GIA. From 1948 to 1970. So for me, I started going back to high school. What was high school like in 1948? What were those stories? Because now I could give it a sense of, I could shape the story around high school. So thank God, everybody who worked on this project at Georgia Public Broadcasting, there was archival footage that was there. So I looked at that footage and I said, wait a minute. Let me use this archival footage in a way to tell the story too. So the footage that you see at the beginning, right? That's footage that's never been seen before, but I wanted to use that footage and use it in a way to tell the story and to lead into. So for me, a sense of mystery, a sense of everything that you see in that film, that's how I think. That's how I think, based on the footage that we had, right? And Pam Oliver, you know, one of the great sportscasters. I mean, she is on the field. When you're in the field, and I think she's been in the field now for like 35 years on, you know, Fox television. But when you are in the NFL, under the pressure that you're under, oh my God, you know, to be an analyst in the moment. Do you know all the people in the booth, what they're calling her? You know? So for her to come and hang out with us, you know, and she said, man, you know, I'm not an actor. I said, no, don't worry about it. I got you. Right? And so everything that you see there is a result of her trusting me and us trusting each other. And the cameraman at the time, you know, we all worked as a small team. And that warehouse is actually one of our warehouses with the company. So we actually incorporated that into the film, The Banker's Box. We incorporated that into the film as well. But all of those touches in the film, for me, represent the challenge. And as a filmmaker, like I said, some people have big egos. I don't have those kind of egos. For me, I think they like tonight, they were like, man, you know, what's Monty gonna do? And so the lights were on, right? And I was like, man, turn on the I'm like turning off lights because I want my audience to have the full theatrical experience. So I'm a stickler for those kinds of things. But no, actually being a filmmaker for me, whether I'm doing something in Hollywood, whether I'm doing something here, to me it's all the same. It's an opportunity to tell the story of the African American experience in America, and if I have to go I'm the type of person I'm that kind of person that. I told a lot of people don't know, we told the story of the Underground Railroad in the film that I made. We went from New Orleans to Toronto, Canada on bikes and documented the Underground Railroad. And I was in B camera, and they couldn't even believe that I would hang out with them to make that journey. But I'm just that type of person. I live for the challenge. So anytime there's a challenge, some people they're like, man, why do you ask so many questions? Just because, I just want to make sure we know where we're going on the challenge, because it is still a challenge for us. But at the same time, I enjoy filmmaking. I will always enjoy filmmaking, and continuing to work with Ann and Ron and everyone here. That's something I just live for. And I'm back in Georgia.
He does. Becky, I'm gonna give it to Becky. So we're going to wrap up. We're conscious. People said don't wrap up yet. Don't wrap up yet. But we're going to wrap up. We have a couple of things that the staff has asked me to do. Is this the time for Ms. Clarice? Okay, we're going to present you with something in honor of your husband, and Dante is going to bring it forward. And I'm not sure if they have something else, but we want to make sure. And daughters, you all came all the way from Howard, Georgia. Pardon me? Husband. It was her husband that Deborah referred to, your father that Deborah referred to. He was a high school student. He was an 8th grader making the team to get them right. He was in 8th grade. He's a bad brother. He reminds me of Coach. Oh, I'm sorry. You were young too. So what Monty said is so important. Get out of the way. Thank you. Dennis graduated on May 7th, and he was editing and getting that to you on time. He graduated from college and got it to you. VFX, they have that for you. So what Monty was saying is so significant. And Dennis wanted me to let Monty know and to let you know, Ms. Howard, and everyone else, we have 45 interviews that are on average. There isn't an average. I think the smallest might have been 33 minutes, 45. We already know who set the record with 4 hours. We have 45 interviews, and we ask you, when you go to the website, you can watch this movie again and again. You better watch it while you can, because we have our own streaming channel. And with that, you're able to connect with other stories. 45. Yes, we have you on there as well. Mr. Lumpkin, he likes to do chit chat. Chris Kim, he likes to do chit chat. So think about that. And how will that look? Oh, now they're going to show a commercial break. And this is how it will look on our website, as if, we got Coach, he saw himself on there again. And so we believe we have stories to tell, as Monty alluded to, whether they move into a series, because we've learned that this type of footage does not exist. And we really had to go dig and get it and find it. And Monty found some. And so with that, you're able to sign up, sign in, and learn more. The stories are worth it. They are worth it. So with that, I'm gonna let Ron introduce Becky, because of what Becky means to all of us. I mean, when Becky came in today, and with her mother, who was a rabble rouser back in the day when it was in race, she was like, what's wrong? Why can't Black kids go to school with me? Ron, you could tell it better.
Yeah, well, we were so
fortunate.
We're
gonna wrap up.
Yeah, we were so fortunate to get Becky Taylor, the sports editor for the Tifton Gazette. They did an article on her back in the AJC. I don't know what year it was. Yeah, 2007. And I had spoke with Herb White, And he said, there's a lady, an editor, a sports editor down in Tifton. Said that, oh man, she has all the records. She's done all the research. She's been up to the University of Georgia, been all over the state. And we talked, and I shot her an email, and she was so elated that we were going to complete this documentary. So she jumped in, and she's been there with us ever since we started back in August. We've been down to Tifton twice and met with Becky. She's been on top of her game. That's all I can say. So I'm going to pass it on to Becky.
Well, I got interested in the project. It wasn't even a project yet, but I'd always kind of been a historian, been around newspapers, doing all kinds of research. But the AJC did a series of articles in 2002 about the GIA, the forgotten history, and been already familiar with newspapers and going to libraries and everywhere else. So he thought, I could do something to help this out. I'm familiar with some of the schools. And it's been a 20-year process since then that, you know, every time I can, try to go to a library, try to look at some archives. We've learned a lot about the league, but there's so much we still don't know. And some people do get their enjoyment from acquiring things. Mine's an acquisition of knowledge. If there's something I can find that's been hidden for years, or if I can uncover some new information, that makes my day. And with a project like the GIA that, you know, when they were young men and young ladies, they didn't get the respect, they didn't get the coverage. And so much of it's just little scraps that you find. And it's just putting these scraps together. And thankfully, we've learned so much of the story. And I'm just so esteemed to be in the room with these legends, with Coach Williams, who talking about playing for LC Baker and all the road trips. And I know he didn't mention that they also went to Kentucky. Coach Baker's brother coached in Kentucky, so they had a home away series every other year. But it's just, I'm just so thrilled that we can finally get this done and that there's more to do. Okay, so I've been told that you all are going to be moving over to the red carpet, but we want to hear Mr. Seay because the sound wasn't the best. Okay, that's fine. I do want to say that we have a competition. Ron, Becky, or Coach Williams. I called him on a Sunday. That's to ask him a question. And he's rattling off. And he told me the other gentleman was an itinerant teacher, told me the name, told me where he worked, told me the days he worked and everything. And we called Becky, like she's going to correct Coach Williams, right? And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. And then Ron, he's our other historian. And we do have another historian, Deetra. But Becky is like a jewel, and for your mom to come up, and tomorrow is your 70th birthday. Thank you, Mom. Yeah. And to be so excited about the premiere and to tell folks around Tifton and to get it in all the papers, Valdosta, et cetera. All around, Moultrie, they got it everywhere. To know that your husband, your father, is now gone on, Dan, as you said, that's his full name. We know that, Tifton, Georgia, full stop. To know that he started something and captured footage when he was told not to in the 50s. He got the footage you see, he captured it. And he was working, they said, don't get the black schools, get the others. And he said, but they have more fun over there. But if he hadn't done that and taught Becky about being a statistician and all of that, the legacy of your husband would not have gone on. So a lot of this we see that's captured. When Ron said he captured footage and Monty said that we went and dug it up, it was really a great effort. So 45, Keocia, 45 interviews, 134 or so hours worth of footage that we are very proud to have. So we have a lot of things planned beginning tomorrow. Mr. Seay, I'm going to ask you the last question. It was going to be Becky, but I'm going to ask you. Tell us about I'm going to say do it in 2 minutes. Your career, because I've seen 2 tubs of trophies of you.
Okay.
Have I not? Now,
Yeah.
You don't have a big one, but I've seen 2 tubs of trophies.
I played football, basketball, and I ran track. That's what I did. I excel in running track. Football, I had everything that you would want on a football player, except for size. And basketball, the same thing. I could play, but just didn't have that size. But anyway, my senior year in high school, we got a track team. I went out for the team, and everybody at the school knew I was fast from playing football. But football and track is, two different things. You got to, really put your work in. But anyway, I ran 1 year in high school, and I was fortunate to win. I won state in class AA, won state in 100 and 200. And I recall it was during the spring when we had our last banquet that year. But they, give out awards for academics, sports, baseball, basketball, or whatever, track and field. But anyway, it really did something to me because I had just won state. Won 100 and 200. Back then we ran everything in yards, so 440 relay team. Now it's 400, 4x1 meters. But anyway, we took second in the state up in Jefferson, Georgia. So anyway, so when we came back, they had the banquet, and so one of my coaches asked me to see my because I had set a state record in the 100 meters, and they gave me a plaque for it. But anyway, so they presented me with the plaque at the award thing that we had, ceremony that we had that spring. So I thought they were going to give me, that's what I got from the state, and that's what they presented me, gave me. So I thought they was going to give me maybe a certificate or a trophy or something. They didn't give me anything. It really, it hurt, because I had just won state, and in America, we were known for football. And I did something different, and I said, well, I hope I get a chance to show them. But anyway, I went to Albany State and track and field scholarship, and we was in the conference, SIAC conference, Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Back during that time, it was a pretty good powerhouse conference. We had schools like FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, and Alabama A&M, and all the schools up here in Atlanta. And but anyway, I was a premier sprinter back then in the 100 and the 200 meters. You probably would have heard about me if it hadn't been for Edward Moses. He just, everybody know him, So I was the next popular athlete, but he was, he was like God, But anyway, I had a good track career. It opened up a lot of doors. I met a lot of people during my lifetime. When I won state in high school, I met Jesse Orange, shook his hand. He presented me with my little medal they gave me for winning first place. But anyway, after all this year, the biggest thing, September the 2nd of this year, I will be going to Albany State Hall of Fame for track and field. I never seen this coming. I know I worked hard, put a lot of hard work in, but I never thought all the recognition that I'm getting now, that I would never get it, and just being a part of this here. I think what really happened with that, in the 1996 Olympics that they had here, I carried the Olympic torch on Stone Mountain when it came down from the mountain. I carried that, and the torch and the plaque and everything that they gave me, it's sitting in the closet right now. I don't, because I want to make the Olympics.
He brings it out, you all believe me. He walks around with it.
No, it's at home.
Well, I'm gonna wrap it up because Coach Williams was looking at you funny because he was thinking back to when you beat us in track at Clark. Yeah, see, he gave you a real funny look when you were talking. He remembers. Don't you remember him? And Edwin Moses did. He was smoke. We were in school. He was all of that. Wait, Coach. You can get him later. Coach was like, he don't like anybody when anybody beats you. He doesn't like it, does he, daughter? So we had some benefactors. They had to go. It was time to go for Father's Day. We want to say once again, Happy Father's Day. Thank you for spending it with us. And more importantly, they want you all to carefully walk. I see they put it down low now. Over to the red carpet for a group shot. That includes Monty, the person who tries to hide from these things. And Miss Keocia, you know where to come now, right? You both Ron, you want to have any final words since Ron signs all the paychecks? What do you all think? Is that a good idea? He doesn't sign mine, Coach. I'm still waiting for the paycheck.
I just want to say, I thank everybody for coming out. We really enjoyed you all's company here. And there's more to come. You know, we're just starting. And, you know, stay tuned. That's all I can say. Check us out on Facebook, all the social media sites. And we're just honored to be a part and try to do a lot of stuff for our history. That's the bottom line. And I have to take my hat off to you, Coach, to tell you that we really appreciate you taking the opportunity to come out here and talk about the GIA. It's really an honor to physically have you to come out here. This is a great honor, and we hope to see you again and get some additional knowledge from you about the GIA because it's very important to me. Growing up in Americus, Georgia, we had very good athletes down there. Never got the recognition. I came to Morris Brown to do baseball and football. And but yeah, we would beat y'all. I was at Morris Brown when Alfred Jenkins was over there. Yeah, and and you know, and we talk about it, and I think the AJC did the thing. The guy Chad Gailey was the quarterback at America's High when I was quarterback at Staley. And, you know, we had a good team. The only reason we didn't pay Carl, I have to get this one in, for the championship, we lost Houston. We would have played over the state because we tied them. We actually tied them 14-14 in 1969. So we was pretty good. You say pretty good, don't do it, right?
Thank you for your patience, and they will be around. We're looking for Miss Fanny. We don't see her, but we have a presentation for Fanny. Where are you? There's Fanny. Fanny, come on up. Come on up. Come on up. She's Ron's wife. All of us want to just continue to pray for her and get counseling and every 48 years. We should have Ron present that to you, but we rather have the young people present it to you. Thank you, Fanny. Thank you for your turn. Thank you for putting up with, thank you for being with Ron. Thank you all. Please enjoy. You all need to get to the red carpet or they're going to be mad. Is that right? Thank you all again. Everyone that could stay. You mind?